We started 2.5 years ago, the future we want. Is this really the future we want? I tell you what is the future I want. I want 7 Mercedes-Benz 500 SEL, different color, one for each day of the week. I like a Ferrari too, weekend. I want a yacht. I want apartments in Tokyo, Paris, London, Rio. Gandhi said 80 years ago, there are all the resources in the world to meet the needs of all the people, but there will never be enough resources to meet the greed of the people. So I believe that it was a wrong signal from the beginning that all the UN agencies, even the NGOs, that the future we want, the future we want. The future we want cannot sustain the one earth we have on resources. I think it's the future we need. A resilient, sustained, inclusive, equitable society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the enthusiastic speech, and unlike your general lectures, you were on time. Thank you for that as well. And especially towards the end, you talked about the future we need, and that's of great importance. Thank you very much. The next speaker is someone who's been advocating green growth in Asia. This is the gentleman. Please, the floor is yours in 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I might watch here, stopwatch, so I will see. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Since I have the benefit of speaking after Dr. Nathan, I don't have to go over the PowerPoints about explaining what happened in Rio. Even though they are in my slide, I will not read them. The next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, these are, another slide, please. These are some of this is my observation. What are the substantive outcome? They recognize green economy in a very limited way, and SDG and integration of 3 pillar. And since I'm from ESCAP, very luckily, they recognize the importance of regional commissions. It was very explicitly agreed. It's good news for us. The next slide, please. These are some of the institutional agreements which are already explained by Dr. Nathan. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, these are some of the means of implementation which is identified by the outcome document, but I'm not quite sure. It's an open-ended question whether would this be enough for means of implementation. Next slide, please. And yeah, next slide, please. Next slide. Because I have only 20 minutes, I will go very fast. Yeah, these are the role of regional commissions. Yeah, next slide, please. Now, I would like to focus mainly on what was the problem at the Rio+20 meeting. As we all heard from Dr. Nathan as well as from world media, there was a terrible difficulty of negotiation. Why the negotiation was so difficult? There was a huge and multi-layered misperceptions about concept on green economy. And it has never been clarified during the negotiation process. That's what made the process so difficult. There are many misperceptions. For example, is the green economy commercializing the nature? This is a kind of a assertion from Latin American countries. They reject the concept of green economy. But to me, green economy is not commercializing the nature. Rather, it is greening the economy to protect the nature. This should be the right way of interpreting it. But this was never been agreed, unfortunately. And then there's another question. Is it going to replace sustainable development? No. This is just one of the implementing strategies of sustainable development. There could be many other strategies like a pink economy or orange economy. There could be other economies as well. So green economy is just one of the operationalization of sustainable development concept. But this was not made clear as well. And then there's another misperception about why only green economy? Well, how about poverty? For us, poverty is more important. Why you are not emphasizing poverty? That is another strong objections from developing country. But to me, poverty and green economy is not a matter of trade-off or which one is more important. Rather, it is an issue of how can we generate a win-win synergy between the two. Because poverty, in a way, it is a short-term and immediate concern for many developing countries, while green economy is something for mid-term to long-term transformation economy. We have to change the way our economy, as Dr. Nathan has mentioned. It will take a long-term view, should take a long-term view. But poverty requires a short-term reaction for the issues of today. So these two are not mutually exclusive, actually. These two should be regarded as one, that to generate the win-win synergy. But there has never been this kind of substantive understanding at the negotiations. And another misperception, is it only for developing country? Why you are pushing your environmental conditionality on developing country? This was the position and understanding of developing country. Why only on developing country? Is it true? But to me, I don't think a green economy is only for developing country. I think it is for all country. Some developed country, I don't want to mention the name, some developed country who has a huge ecological footprint and carbon per capita emission, they have even more important huge challenge of going back to green economy. So it is not only for developing country, it is for all country. But this point was not also made clearer. And then also another very important point. Is it only a matter of money and technology? Developing countries saying that we don't have money and technology. It's not relevant for us. It's beyond our reach. It is only for Japan, not for Bangladesh or Nepal. We don't have money and technology. Why you guys are imposing this kind of things to us? This is the basic attitude. But is it really only a matter of money and technology? Yes, money and technology is necessary, but it's not sufficient. I'm emphasizing that this is not sufficient at all. We need what's more important is enabling policy framework, and the political leadership is actually more critical. And if we have, for example, if we have a right carbon price, then we can have investment comes in and technology flows in. But without, with the carbon price as a very wrong level, like fuel subsidy and like that, there will be no investment happening. Yeah. Next slide, please. And also, another misperception. Many are saying that, oh, green economy is a burden. It's a burden. And it should be CBDR. They're emphasizing CBDR. But to me, I think it's a bit strange to understand. Because to me, green economy is an opportunity, not just a burden. So why you are talking about CBDR if it's an opportunity? So it's rather be, we should have a different perspective on this issue. But I will tell you later, how can green economy be an opportunity, if I have time. And the green protectionism. Is it a green protectionism? No, I don't think it's a green protectionism. It is a new paradigm. We have to change the way we operate our economy, the way we operate our trade. So it is not only for undeveloping country, but for our country. So it's a new paradigm, not just a protectionism. How about the social inclusion issue? This is another very important point. The green economy, to me, is an integration of green and economy. Means that it's about two pillars. And the social pillar is missing here. So we have to clearly admit that green economy has to be supplemented by social initiative, which includes poverty, income gap, and inclusion issue. So we have to, if it was clarified in the negotiation that green economy is not cure-all, it is only one of the strategies with many limitations, and it has to be supplemented by other initiatives on social dimension, then I think it could have been easier for developing countries to accept it. Then another issue, does developing countries have capacity to do it? Yes, they are lacking capacity, I admit that. So they need a kind of support for their initial action. That's why I think Rio+20 should have been an opportunity for global partnership rather than global confrontation.